Hi, everybody. I think we'll give it one more minute for anybody else to come on in, and then we'll get started here just in a couple minutes. Thank you for joining today. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining today. Welcome to our Q3 product webinar. I am your host, Ryan. I am our leader of product and engineering here at Sift. And with me today is Tim, who is our head of client success. Tim's going to be joining me a little bit later on in the presentation to do some demos. We decided this time to give you a couple of demos for our latest features that we've been working on. We welcome all dialogue in the chat. So if you have anything that you would like me to see and respond to, please make sure to use the chat section. And you can also use the Q&A section to ask questions. We should have that enabled here in Teams. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A session. So I'll answer those questions at the end of the call. We will have a few poll questions throughout, as usual, during these meetings. We'll be asking you your opinions on these features as well as our upcoming roadmap. So be sure to participate in those if you have an opinion that you'd like to share. And as always, we will get you the recording of this event within the next 36 hours. So if you missed some of it, if you want to share it out with anybody else at your company, please feel free to do so. Great. So for our agenda today, we'll do our overview, then we'll go through what we did in Q2, what did we release in the second quarter, as well as this quarter as well. We've already released some things this quarter. Then we'll go into what's coming up next on our roadmap. So at first, we'll tell you kind of what we're working on in the immediate, and we'll also ask you some questions about our future roadmap. Then we're going to do some demos of a couple of the things that we've worked on. And then we'll do the Q&A and just tell you a little bit more about how to get involved in our product going forward. So what have we been up to in Q2? So the largest feature we released last quarter was open roles. This was a very widely requested feature. So allowing you to create open roles on the Sift org chart and also creating Sift pages along with those roles should do well to bring transparency in your organization for sort of organizational movement and internal mobility. So now you can go right on the Sift org chart and create open roles. You'll see them as these sort of dotted line cards within the org chart. You can go in and create them just right from scratch in Sift. So like unlike our normal people data, you don't have to do a data integration for open roles. You can just go and create them right in Sift because we understand that roles are not something that are always just available in a convenient system as much as people are. And once you create the role, you'll automatically get a Sift page created with that role where you can add in a job description and links to an external job posting board or anything else you would like to do. And in your admin dashboard, you can also configure that page to add anything you would like to that section. We'll do a demo of this a little bit later, but yeah, we're really proud of this feature. We're looking for our customers to also tell us how they're using this. And if you need any help setting that up, or any suggestions on how to roll that out to your employees, we would be happy to help you do so. We also made some updates to our mobile app. This was like a little bit more of an invisible thing, but we, for a long time, had not updated our mobile app at all, and we sort of made some technology updates in the back end of that to just set us up for success going forward. So with our upcoming features and releases, we're going to pay a lot more attention to our mobile application. If you've never used our mobile app, it's great. I mean, it's available just right on the iOS or Android store. You can download it and sign into Sift just as you would sign in anywhere else. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. And just going forward, we'll be paying a lot more attention to our mobile app and making some more updates there. And then some odds and ends. As we've talked about in the past, we're always looking for ways to update our free trial and data sync experience and make it easier to use. So we've made a few more updates to our CSV upload experience where we will let you know about issues earlier in the process. So if you're ever frustrated on that mapping screen where you can't get things to work, we've added some more sort of previous error states to let you know that you have issues. And then we've also just made additional improvements to our infrastructure, security, and monitoring, just to make sure that everything at Sift is easy to diagnose if we ever have any issues. What are we working on in Q3? The first thing that we already actually released this quarter, which got released last week into the Microsoft 365 store, is we made a lot of updates to our Teams app, as we previously referred it as. And now our Teams app is available all across Office 365. So you can now use the Sift Teams app within Outlook and within the Microsoft 365 homepage, which will show. So if you're in the Microsoft ecosystem as a company, this just gives your employees an easier way to access Sift without needing to learn a new website to go to. And then in addition to making it available across all of those different platforms, we've created our first sort of foray into AI. So we have created an integration into Microsoft's AI assistant, Copilot. So you can now ask Copilot natural language sort of questions, and it will bring results back from Sift. So I'll show this a little bit later in our demo, but for example, you see here where we're saying, Sift, find someone in the technology department who can help me with JavaScript. So really allowing you to use Copilot in a conversational manner to find the people that you're looking for. And then since we extended our Teams app into Outlook, if you've ever used in the Teams app where you can kind of search for people in the top bar of Teams, you can now also do that within emails. So if you want to send Sift profile cards through email, you can do so. And then in Outlook as well, which I'll show you, you can also use our entire application right inside of Outlook. So you never really have to leave that platform if that's where you do a lot of your work throughout the day. And last but not least, this has been on the docket for a long time due to Microsoft um, due to sort of an issue and limitations on Microsoft end, we haven't been able to do this. But if you remember, a while back, we released a integration into Microsoft Teams meetings. So if you don't know, when you go into a Teams meeting, you can use the Sift app to learn more about the people inside of the meeting. So there'll be like a side panel that shows up, and it'll show the Sift profile of everybody in that meeting, and you can learn a little bit more about them. And today, now you can add that app to every single meeting in your organization automatically. So before you had to like manually click in every single meeting, like add the Sift app and bring it up, which was kind of like inconvenient for discoverability if you didn't already know it existed. But now if you're an administrator in the Microsoft ecosystem, you can kind of say, hey, like I want this to just be present in every single meeting that goes on, and you can always have that available for you. And what we're currently working on, the big project, is our Sift homepage. And we're really looking to increase sort of the level of engagement that your end users will have with Sift. So today, our homepage is really just a search bar where you can like start your search. And you can obviously navigate over to the org chart or the directory. But we're looking to really make Sift a lot more proactive. So kind of giving people a reason to come every day, giving people recommendations. Other things we're doing here are kind of simpler things like announcements or external links. So like if you're a company that doesn't have like kind of a landing page, you could even use it for that purpose. So you'll be able to maybe post announcements or post like external links to different parts of your intranet. We're looking at using things like AI to give you matches of people that we think that you should reach out to, celebrations like birthdays, new hires, and work anniversaries. So really giving people a reason to like check back every day and just be able to engage with our platform in a little bit more creative ways. And we are going to build this as sort of a widget-based customizable system, which is how I know a lot of different platforms work. So like you as an administrator will be able to choose like what comes up on this page. This screenshot ahead of you is just kind of like a mock-up example of like some things that we're thinking about building. It might not be exactly this for V1, but we will have that system in place that lets you sort of explore different types of things to put on your homepage and make it more engaging. And this is one area that we're going to be looking for a lot of feedback. I know we've had a lot of people ask us about, hey, like what can I put on my homepage on Sift, like other than that search bar. So our product designer, Kaya, is going to be reaching out to a lot of our customer base to sort of ask them about this. If you remember, we did, I think, a survey around this functionality almost a year ago, and it was kind of put on hold. But we're back working on this actively, and we should have something out at the end of this quarter, if not early next quarter. And here we have our first poll question. So we just wanted to gauge a little bit of the interest in this feature. So um, would you find it important to have something like this to kind of make that homepage more engaging? Do you think that that would be something that would be valuable to your organization? I think the question should just pop up. There it is. Oh, we have a 1 to 5 scale. I'm sorry, my slide. So how important is a personalized homepage experience to your organization's team members? So on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not important and 5 being very important. Great. Sounds like we have a lot of fives. That's a good result. Yeah, I appreciate the interest in that, and definitely will keep you all posted on the progress there. And hopefully, the next time we do this webinar, we'll have that available for everybody. All right. Great. And now I'm going to jump into my. I cannot view the poll because it popped up, but I vote very important. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. Sorry that the poll wasn't available for you. Great. So I'm going to jump into my demo. So I am going to be quickly showing these new Microsoft 365 updates that we released, and then Tim is going to jump into the open role demo. We'll just do this very quickly, and then after that, we'll have a little bit more time for Q&A. And also, I just wanted to ask a couple of more poll questions. So first, I wanted to show this Copilot integration. So if you see my screen, I know it's a little bit small. But if your organization has access to Copilot within Teams, you'll have Copilot in your chat area. So you can kind of ask this AI bot questions. And here's just some examples of some queries that you can do with Sift. So like find somebody in the marketing department who can help me with PowerPoint, or search for somebody interested in board games, or search for a software engineer who knows SQL. We're still looking at different ways that we can integrate with this. Unfortunately, right now, in the Microsoft ecosystem, the way they have these plugins built, you have to like explicitly ask Sift something. Like we have been talking to them though about ways to like get our results into just more generic queries. So if you just ask something more general. But as an example, if I just say like Sift, like marketing, find someone in the marketing department. I can just type this, and then Copilot will give me sort of a result, and it'll take a little bit of time. And how this kind of works is if you have the Sift app installed in your system, you can kind of enable it as an extension down here. These are my sort of preview environment ones. And then it'll kind of begin responding to those queries. So like if for whatever reason you don't want to use it, you can always turn it off. And then once these results come back, you can kind of, it'll give you some people that you might want to reach out to that are results to this query. You can hover over these little like annotations here to like view more information on these results. And then as always, you can kind of like navigate over to the Sift platform. So if I go and click like full profile for Bonnie, it'll go right over here. It looks like I'm logged in to do two different places. Ignore that. It'll go right over here to the Sift app within Teams, where you should be able to view the profile for those people. I'm not sure what's not working here, but it should work. So that's kind of the Copilot integration side. For the Outlook stuff, let me see if I have this up. Yeah, so as you can do in Teams, you can now inside of Outlook look at like a Sift application like right on the left-hand side of your platform, and in here you can use our full product. So over here, I'm logged in to Sift, and I can view my profile and view my org chart. So just a different way of making us available throughout the Microsoft ecosystem. And here's a quick example of an open role that Tim is going to show in a moment. And we're also available on this Microsoft 365 landing page. Not sure how much people use this, but really Microsoft has kind of made it available to have these apps go across the entire ecosystem, and we wanted to take advantage of that. Just to give you more of an easy entry point into our platform, as we know that like getting usage can be just a big concern at different companies. So we find that providing these different avenues into Sift can be very, very useful. And yeah, I guess last but not least is if I am sort of creating an email in Outlook, another thing I can now do is I can sort of like look for people inside of this like search bar and like sort of create these like dynamic cards within my emails. So if you ever had like a use case to like send somebody a search on Sift or send somebody a profile, you can kind of create these cards right within Outlook with links into our platform. So it's kind of similar to that other functionality that I just showed within Copilot. And yeah, just a lot of different ways that we've sort of made our way into the Microsoft ecosystem and continue to invest there. And I think that is it for that part of the demo. I will pass it over to Tim to show you open roles real quick.
Thanks, Ryan. So yeah, as Ryan had mentioned, one of the newer features that we released this quarter was our open roles feature. So let me go ahead and share my screen and kind of give you a quick overview on how that all works. All right, so on the org chart, you can add an open role a couple different ways. you can just click on the add edit button at the top and choose to create an open role and fill in the information that way. Or if you happen to know who the person is going to end up reporting to, you can always do it off of their card as well. So say Susan Kempton, who's our Chief Technology Officer in our demo instance, has an open role that they're going to be listing for a senior developer. You would just click on the three dots on the bottom corner, create the open role report, and we're going to give this the title of senior developer, and go ahead and hit save. And what this will do is we'll go ahead and create an open role for this particular position, and you can go through and fill in information about this. These pages are modifiable on the back end within the Sift pages section in the administrator, but you can fill in information about the role description, things that you're looking for, similar to what you would post on LinkedIn or some other job board. And then when you go back to the org chart, and we go back to Susan here, we can see that we now have this new icon on her card. It's a little silhouette of a person with a magnifying glass over it that says that there is going to be a direct report open role for that person. And on the card, we will see this card created for the open role with the dotted lines around it here to show that it is available. And then once you do end up filling that role, simply just come in here, click the three dots, and you can go ahead and hit delete. It will go ahead and remove the card from the org chart and then also the page that was associated to it as well. So that way someone doesn't accidentally stumble upon it, 4 or 5 months down the road and think, oh, well, I'd be great for this role, and submit their information only to find out that unfortunately that has been filled already. So that's just kind of the quick overview on the open roles feature that we have rolled out. Any questions, by all means, feel free to reach out. We can always go over it in more detail, but it's a pretty straightforward and easy to use feature that we added. And again, we had quite a few people express interest in it, and some of the people on here who've been with us longer know that kind of the workaround was just to create a placeholder card in your CSV file and upload it that way. And while it worked, it just wasn't as easy and efficient to do. So we really wanted to break things down and simplify it and make it so it's a lot easier to utilize that feature. So with that said, Ryan, was there anything else that you wanted to kind of go over with the open roles here while I have this up, or did you want to continue
Yeah,
on?
the only other thing I would say is we are still sort of investigating sort of direct integrations to do with the open rule system. And if not direct integrations, even if it's the CSV route, like we kind of want to know how different companies have those open rules structured so we can like import them in bulk. Because
Right.
like today, like this is the thing that is currently available to you, but if you want to import them in bulk right now, you kind of have to like contact our CS team and we have to do it manually. So we would be interested for anybody's feedback, either now or kind of like just after the meeting. You can always email Tim or support@justSift.com about sort of which systems you would like to integrate to for open roles, because we're kind of still learning about the market and understanding how people want it. What if the open role is a manager and you want existing employees to ladder underneath that open role? Today with this manual creation experience, you cannot do that. But if we help you out and like do like a bulk upload, we can do that for you. But yeah, today unfortunately you can't have that happen because like it we don't want it to like override your existing data that you're importing. But we've seen like a lot of companies who have kind of like everything inside of like one data set. So like we've seen companies where like rather than like the a like an email or an employee ID being the primary key for Sift, they'll use like a position ID, and then like everything is connected. And in that scenario, we can have like the manager be an open role if like in your official data it says that that role reports to the manager. But we're still figuring it out, I guess, is the long story short. But we'd be happy to sort of work with you on that and figure something out if needed. Yeah, Tim, I think that's all I had. Yep, no problem.
Okay, great.
All right, so great. Just a few more things. So, just had a couple of poll questions for y'all for some future roadmap consideration. So, just these are coming from things that we've heard both from prospects as well as our internal conversation about product stuff. So, this isn't on the immediate roadmap, but we'd love to know like how valuable you would find these two things. So, I think this is going to be another 1 through 5 question in Teams, but how much would your organization benefit from an external facing Sift experience, meaning it's available to people outside of your org? So what this would mean is, would you find benefit in a public facing, oh, we do have a yes or no question. Would you find benefit in a public facing sort of version of Sift for people outside to your company? So this could involve, hey, like the data is like partial on the public version, or you currently have like a public directory and you would like to replace that with our platform. I'm thinking things like colleges, universities who have like an internal and an external version. Or even from the org chart perspective, I know we hear a lot of people do exports for our org chart via like a PDF, which isn't always the easiest to handle. Would you like an external interactive org chart that people could look at? All right, we have a yes in the chat and then 3 no's on the poll. So that's one, yeah. Okay, it's good to know. Thank you on that one. And for our next question, how impactful would it be to have additional data on profiles only viewable by certain people, roles, or groups? So this would be sort of a role-based access control for like profile data. So for example, um, in like a more in a less like private data scenario, this could be as simple as something like, oh, like only a manager can see people's like phone numbers on their profile page because we want to keep them private. Or in like the more private data scenario, like bringing in like things like salary data to Sift or things along those lines where maybe leadership could analyze that data, but people that were just the regular day-to-day employees could not.
I was just gonna say, Mary. I know what Mary's voting on that one. We just talked about this yesterday, and I was gonna give her a heads up to make sure she was joining, but I'm glad she did. So,
Thank you, Jeff. Oh, got it. So it looks like we have a lot more on that one that would find that valuable. Definitely good to know. And then, yeah, if you can throw some examples out in the chat of like the type of data that you think that this would be valuable for, I would love to hear it. Or if you're not comfortable with that, also feel free to contact us as well. Um, yeah, great. Appreciate that feedback from everybody. Yeah, so just a couple of wrap-up items before we get to the Q&A and sign off. We will be at the HR Tech Expo in Las Vegas in September. So if you or anybody else you know is joining here, please let us know that you'll be there, and we'll try to do sort of a meetup. Would love to meet some of our customers and prospects. We will not have a booth, unfortunately, but we'll be around the expo, sort of just trying to meet people. So if you or anybody you know has a presence there, please let us know. We'd love to meet you. As always, how to get involved. As I've said a few times, always feel free to reach out to us via Tim or email or anything like that. But as a reminder, we do have a sort of product feedback board that is actually linked in Sift by default in the top right-hand corner, or the link is feedback.justsift.com. This is a place where we'll occasionally look for product ideas and things of that nature. And you can also follow us on all of our social media to continue to get updates on our roadmap and anything else. So usually when we release these features also, if you haven't been seeing them, we'll send out emails to the same mailing list that goes out for this webinar to let you know about feature announcements, but always keep an eye on that as well, coming from our marketing team. And again, we always love reviews. So G2 is a platform that we use very frequently to kind of get referral business to Sift, and we also just love seeing how people feel. So as always, if you would like to leave us a review on G2, we would always appreciate that. And we have a very sort of good presence on G2, and we'd love to keep that going. So thank you so much if you decide to leave us a review. And with that, I will pause for Q&A. If you want to use either the Q&A section or the chat to ask a question, feel free. But if not, I will see you later. And thank you so much for joining here today. I'll give it a few minutes. Thank you, Kitso. Appreciate it.
This looks like there's a
There,
question from Mary. Is there a way to view pages in the app? She's not able to find it. She might thinking it could just be user error.
there is not currently, Mary. Actually, yeah, you can view sort of like the chips on people's profiles relating them to the pages, but the pages themselves are not currently viewable on mobile. But it's something that we're working on.
And then Jeff wanted to know, Jeff McNutt wanted to know if there's a newer version of the onboarding guide that includes these features in there that we can distribute out to the employees. We will definitely be working on something to include all of our recent, feature enhancements, the open roles, dotted line reporting, and stuff like that into that. So we'll be
Yeah,
getting with our marketing team.
one thing to note here as well that I just want to make sure that people know is that a lot of like features like these, for better or for worse, are kind of turned off by default when they're released because we don't want to like spring these things on our new customers and just have them immediately show up. So we do release like help documentation from a technical perspective on the admin dashboard on getting things set up. But yeah, there's definitely room for improving our communication to all of our end users. But we just don't want to do things like say like, oh, we've released open roles, but then like they can't do anything with that information. So it's always kind of a gray area.
Is there an option
Yes.
to add Sift Teams automatically now, or is that coming? We do want to just be able to for every single time.
Yes, it is available, Mary. I can send you some documentation on that. There's inside of the Teams admin center, they now have an area. They've always had an area where you can kind of pre-pin the Sift app, like on the left side of Teams, where you can just use Sift in Teams, but now they have a new area for meetings themselves where you can say, hey, like in every meeting, uh, this is what you would be able to do. This is how you can, these are the apps that you want to be automatically added. So that should be available now. Yep. Yeah, and then Ed will send you the documentation on the new features as well once it's available. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. I will see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye, guys.